Friday, January 3rd, and for the final time, Happy New Year. It's 2025. I hope the ball dropped well for you, Cyrus, on New Year's Eve. I know that we have had 2 Warriors Wednesdays erased by Christmas and New Year's Eve, so we had to come back this Friday for a make good. We're calling it Warriors Weekly, and we got a lot to talk about. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing good, man. It's Friday. It's for whatever that's worth in a weird holiday. This time of year is always funky. Like you don't know if you're doing business today. You don't know if you're doing absolutely nothing, just lighting up a joint and watching Seinfeld. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the routine is. So I'm just rolling with it. It's raining, but who cares? The Warriors won. Damon, great to see you, brother. And to your audience, hello. It's always great to see you, and to the Golden Dazers, hello as well. Happy New Year.
Hello all around. Hello, everyone. It's great to have you here. Obviously, I'm brought to you by Ike's of Ike's Sandwiches. That's my guy right there. We love our good friends at the Dubliners in West Portal, one of the best bars in all of San Francisco. Cyrus, I know you got
logos? You don't have logo? I thought you dropped logos.
We got logos.
Yeah, I'm here for you, man.
Want a Vanna White for you. Bad boy. There you go. See,
whenever Vanna White. I thought there we go. Not to mention, every time you have Ike's mentioned, I get hungry and I start thinking about if I was ever lucky enough to have my own dream sandwich. I already have it set up. It's itemized. Dude, all I do when you say Ike's is picture eating that Ike sandwich. It's the best sandwich in the Bay Area. It's delicious. Oh, there you go. See, I could care less about being blocked out because I'm looking at that. Those onion rings are so freaking good. Bravo for your sandwich, man. That is incredible.
That's what I'm talking about. And then again, go get yourself a perfectly Guinness at the Dubliner West Portal as well. And Cyrus, again, I know that you've got some sponsors to thank as well. Let's do it.
And real fast with the Dubliner. While we're talking about them, I want to give your clients love, brother. The Dubliner, and my favorite beer on the planet is Guinness. What's yours?
Guinness, it's a Guinness.
It's the best. It's the best. And I've never been to Ireland. I want to go so bad, just so I can chill with local Irish folks. Their culture is my favorite on the planet, and I want to drink Guinness with just local Irishmen and women and have the time of my life.
I've heard that you never even had Guinness until you've drank one in Europe, and because they still ship in wooden barrels. They got to put them in rubber barrels to get it over here. So they've got the old school barrels, which is part of that. Just Guinness. I gotta get over there myself eventually.
Hey, let me know, man. Maybe we'll tag it up. Ireland sounds amazing. Well, sponsoring the Golden Days, Vitamin Energy. Go to vitaminenergy.com. Make sure you enter the promo code Golden Days. Days is spelled like days and confused, and you get a 20% discount on your purchase. Again, use Golden Days at checkout for 20% off an energy boost that is actually healthy for you. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform. Use the promo code BELIEVE. BLEAV. It's the name of the network that Golden Days is on for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. I abbreviated that just for you, Damon, so we don't spend too much time on sponsors. Thank we go.
You very much. Again, if you had something to frame, I would have done that for you. But look, all I can tell you is welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here. We'll be getting back to our normal programming schedule as we get into next week. We're going to have a 49ers, luckily our final 49ers watch party, because these things haven't been parties recently, but we're going to do that on Sunday, and then we'll be right back at it come Monday with our normal schedule of programs over here, which means Cyrus and I will be back on Warriors Wednesday, but we'll talk about right now, because last night, look, man, there are certain nights where Steph Curry puts on the best show in sports. And last night was one of those nights. He could not miss from downtown. And when Steph Curry's playing like that, that building becomes electric. You start looking at the Warriors through the prism of, hey, maybe it could all still happen. When Steph is playing like that, it creates such a good and great feeling. But I got bad news, everyone. They're still a pretty middle tier at best NBA team. A win over the Sixers proves absolutely nothing. The Sixers are one of the most discombobulated, funny fitting NBA teams you're going to find in the NBA this year. Joel Embiid is the biggest false prophet in this league since James Harden. And what the Warriors really are 5-13 in their last 18 games. They beat teams that suck. The teams that don't suck have been beating them.
Well, December was a funky month in general. I mean, the people, the eternal optimists will say the schedule was super difficult. It was it was the seventh most difficult schedule in the NBA. That's what the Warriors had, I believe, up until the end of December. And so January is going to bring a nice reprieve. On last night's show, I was way more positive than I probably should have been about the Warriors, because you're absolutely right, man. Philly sucks. It's not just that they're like this ridiculously constructed team where Daryl Morey did not put thought into this. He literally was just like, who's out there? Who's the best? Let me look at my fantasy rankings. Who's the highest on the fantasy draft board? Him. Okay, we'll just try to get him and put him on the Sixers roster. There was no thought put into this. It was just, who looks good? Let's add them. Let's throw them together. And then on top of that, like half their team was hurt last night. Like it was not lost on me that Kyle Lowry was the starting two guard for this team, and that Dennis Schroeder just happened to take off at the same time. So with his three-point shot, he was 3 for 3 in that opening quarter. And the Steph thing, again, the most made threes without a miss in his career at 36, going on 37 in 2 months. That is remarkable, but I also think a huge part of that was Steph actually had help last night. And this is where I'd love to get your perspective, because there's an ongoing discussion that Steph's best days are behind him, and that's probably true, but I don't think he's declined to the point where he's no longer elite, where he's no longer one of the best. He's still worthy of being an all-star starter. Damon, what I'm seeing out there, yes, he does have the creaky knees. Yes, his body is not what it once was, but he showed he can still do it, right? I don't think this guy's help. I think he has no help out there. What I'm seeing when I'm like observing closely, our defenses double, sometimes triple teaming him. They just aren't showing traps. That's why most people aren't seeing it. But that second defender, whoever the closest Warriors player is to Steph, that defender, all they're doing is looking at Steph. I don't know if you saw those wide open threes from Draymond last night where the Sixers were daring him, and unfortunately he only made one. But that was just a slight piece of evidence showing that no one cares about anyone on that offense except for Stephen Curry. And this is what happens when he gets doubled and triple teamed. And I hope the Warriors do something to help him. What are your thoughts?
It's up to Andrew Wiggins to fill that gap, right? And he doesn't more often than he does. No. And it's up to Buddy Hield, who it's good to see him actually hit a few shots after
he had a
week and a half of not hitting shots. So Buddy Hield, we need more of you, Buddy Hield. I love that Draymond gave him the tough love. Sometimes leadership isn't diplomatic, friendly, or nice. And Draymond's done a lot of things to screw up this team, but sometimes he leads them the right way. And I think Buddy Hield needed that tough love. I'm glad that he got it. And the rest of the Warriors, they're certainly built imperfectly around Steph Curry, which is going to bring us to a conversation that no one really wants to have. But I think it's time to actually talk about it, because you are right. There's still an awful lot of Steph Curry left, so much so that you could probably never get anything more for him in a trade than you could right now. And I know that that's unthinkable. I know that that's unthinkable. But if we're going to have a real, what do the Warriors need for their next 5 years, trading Steph Curry makes more sense than playing Steph Curry in a kind of unwinnable, you ain't going back to the NBA Finals situation that a lot of you don't want to admit exists, but really kind of does. So we'll get all there. But Cyrus, we do break for super chats, especially one of this size.
Okay. Oh, what does that mean? Is that a literal $100?
Rob C Note is his name, and the man lives up to his nickname. Rob, Happy New Year to you. What a win. Our first super of 2025 comes in big from my man Rob C-Note. Thank you as always, Rob.
He's one of your listeners who just jumps in and he calls himself C-Note and drops C-Notes.
He calls himself Rob C. He got the nickname because he dropped C-Notes. He didn't say call me Rob C-Note.
Good nickname.
It just fit.
Bravo, man.
Look.
No question. I'm not even like he doesn't want answers from us. Just $100. Happy New Year. That is magnanimous, sir. Bravo. Man. Wow.
That's our guy. Rob, thank you very, very much. So look, Steph Curry is the greatest Golden State Warrior of all time.
Easily.
He is the most important Warrior of all time.
Easily.
He is, as much as Chase Center stands as a building, he stands as the man that represents why this team went from worth about $500 million to a $9 billion enterprise. You know, this guy has changed everything, and he is the ultimate golden goose. And we all know that the Warriors will never trade Steph Curry.
Nor should they, in my opinion.
I don't know about that.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Okay.
I don't know about this nor should they thing. because I am looking at a team that is 100% going to spin its wheels in the mud between now and however it ends.
So what you're let me see if I follow you correctly. Do you believe, and please correct any of this if it's wrong. You believe that as long as Steph is here, you're going to get the Steve Kerr, Dre show, which is not going to lead anywhere. And that's why you think he should be moved?
Steph should be moved because he would return the greatest assets on this team.
I see.
You know, like look, now trades and aprons, they're much more difficult than they used to be. It's not, you just can't talk about a trade without saying, well, is the salary match there and all these different things that a second apron team or a first apron team has to qualify for to make all these things. So like, you know, leave it to the NBA. You've even taken the fun out of talking about trades, you motherfuckers. Like that's how much you screwed up your league in so many ways. But
you're right, dude.
What if I told you Steph Curry to Oklahoma City for 5 future first-round picks and the rights to Chet Holmgren? Would you think about that?
Here's the thing, Damon. Yes, but here's how I'll respond to that, because I'm with you, and I prefer approaching almost anything in life with logic, with reasoning. We've been gifted as human beings with critical thinking skills, so why not use them? With that said, you grew up a Bulls fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have traded Michael Jordan after the 6th title if he decided he was going to come back? Phil's coming back.
I would have been the guy who said, we're definitely not letting Mike walk. We're definitely re-signing this guy. There's no reason to walk away from him here. But Michael Jordan was never playing when he was 37 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
he retired at 30. But that's what I'm asking. He retired at 35. They won the 6th title for the 2nd time, and then he came back with the Wizards, unfortunately. And for the young kids out there, I saw something today where a kid born in 2007 is going to turn 18 this year, that's insane, right? I mean, we're getting old. You know, time flies. You know, it's a sad part of reality. But are you like, Jordan was 35? Oh, the whole reason I said that, by the way, is because for the young kids out there, if all you saw is Jordan wearing a Wizards jersey, please erase those memories. That was not him, man. Jordan in a Bulls uniform doing what he did. That's Michael Jordan.
Godfather 3. It never happened.
It never. Yeah. Just pretend like that was. So with that said, Michael Jordan retired when he was 35. You're saying that if Jordan kept playing beyond that and they weren't winning championships, you'd be willing to move on? Because I feel like Steph.
First of all, this conversation has nothing to do with my sepia tone memories of Michael Jordan at all. I'm only looking at the Golden State Warriors, how they're currently constructed, how they don't have the balls or the assets or the gumption to really make the trade around Steph that is going to buoy Steph's next few years. You know, if you're, Kaminga, the fact that Kaminga still operates in a space of, don't know if you're going to keep him. Don't know how much you should play him. Yeah, don't know if he's a starter. Don't know if he's coming off the bench. Don't know if he's good enough to close. Like there are too many questions on this team about its own assets, whether to move them, flip them, play them, make them stay, make them go. To me, if we're all just being really honest, the Warriors are done winning championships. Okay, that's what's it. That's what's going on. The Warriors are done winning championships. So how do you want to lay this down?
I'll push this. Here's how I'll respond in 2 ways. First of all,
do you want just Curry to shoot a whole bunch of threes in middling NBA seasons? Because that's pretty much how I think it ends.
The way that you as a kid felt emotionally for Michael Jordan is how the Bay Area feels emotionally for Steph. That's why I do think it's relevant to mention that, because when we talk about Steph being traded, you're right. Logically, this is sentimentality being applied, but Steph means that much. He's like, you talk about the house that Ruth built, referring to Yankee Stadium. That's what Chase Center is. It's the house that Curry built. So you're talking about trading Babe Ruth if you're the Yankees. That's what he means to San Francisco and the Warriors.
Right.
That's why I don't think.
I hear you. Joe Montana got traded. So I also don't hear it.
I know. But yes, you're right. If it's the perfect trade, I maybe I'd listen. But the other thing is the ownership of this team, they don't agree with you. And I'm not fully sold either. Like I'm not sold on the argument that the championships, the window is like 100% shut. It's like 90. I'm saying it's close. I'm not forgetting that 12-3 start. I'm not forgetting the games where we see the Warriors at their best. And it tells me that there is a window. And here's the other part. People were laughing at me in summer of 2021 when I was predicting the Warriors were going to win the championship that year. And my response to that was, besides the fact that you're basically calling out Steph and Dre and that whole squad as saying you're cooked, and they took that personally. But the landscape of the NBA is very important to take note as well. The last 2 years was the land of the bigs, man. You were not taking out Jokic's Nuggets in 2023. Damn near impossible. I thought the Warriors had a shot, but roster construction prevented that. 2024 was another year of the land of the Giants. But even though the Celtics ended up winning it, but they got a lot of bigs. Porzingis was an important addition for him. With that said, this year, it's lined up where you don't need that. Like you can rely on the same model that worked in 2022, where you need more size than this. Like the Warriors have to do something. And my greatest fear right now is this trade window's coming up in a month, and that Kerr's going to convince the front office, don't do a thing. I love my team. Don't. That's my greatest fear. They're going to go like 11-6 this month.
What I would also say too is, Steve, if you love your team, you got a funny way of showing it.
Well, I mean, again,
9 guys on this team around. Anyone not named Steph Curry or Draymond Green is basically getting his minutes jerked around by the game, by the situation. I can prove to you don't love your team based on the way you don't even know who to play in what situation, and we're halfway through the year, dude.
The Trayce Jackson-Davis usage is a great example of that, man. I don't know why he was out of the starting lineup as long as he was. You let players play through these things if you actually trust them. Leave them out there. Show some faith in your players, man. And we're seeing what happens when he's playing again, man. He's a force out there. He plays defense against bigs efficiently. I like Trayce Jackson-Davis, dude. I'm glad Looney right now is out of the rotation. As much as I love him personally, talking about sentimentality, separating that from what's on the court, like Looney is out of the rotation for a good reason. Trayce Jackson-Davis is back in. I don't know why this wasn't happening from the start of the season. The mad scientist act is kind of wild. I do hope we settle down there a little bit, but you're absolutely right, man. Here's what I believe. I believe the 12-3 start, where the Warriors were legitimately kicking ass. And their starting lineup those first 3 games is what I saw and believed in, and we haven't seen it since, where Wiggins was your starting two-guard.
All right, Cyrus, let me teach you how to cover an NBA season here.
You're going to teach me.
Basketball doesn't matter, dude. No one was even coming out and playing hard. Like the Warriors absolutely made some hay while the sun was up, and no one was even trying. But the first week or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, basketball almost doesn't even matter before Valentine's Day.
The players will not agree with you. When the Warriors started 18-2 in 2022, that meant something. The Warriors, there's certain games, again, you got to watch this stuff religiously, fanatically every night. The players care, man. They're not mailing it in.
The Anthony Melton injury has scuttled the entire plan.
No, because the Warriors were doing fine with or without him. The Melton injury was irrelevant. The starting lineup the first 3 games, and this is what they were using the preseason a lot too, had Wiggins as your 2-guard. But going back to having size at your 2-guard. Remember, Klay Thompson was not small. He was 6'7". And then Kaminga was playing the 3, his natural position. Draymond at the 4, which he has publicly said is what he wants to do so he can be a free safety defensively, while Trayce Jackson-Davis mans the paint. That was working, dude. They were blowing teams out with that lineup, and then they abandoned it really fast. But look, when what they need is someone like Buddy Hield, except on a consistent basis. Buddy Hield last night was 1 of 5. Right? People thought from that 1-3 that he was back. He was 1 of 5. Buddy Hield was a massive swing and a miss in terms of a free agent signing. Kyle Anderson, I don't think was a swing and a miss, but he's getting DNPs. Why did you sign him?
He needs playing time. It's so weird. It's just so weird. Again, that's there's so much frustration around the way Kerr is deploying his talent. The way that the talent sometimes fits together, most of the time doesn't really look like it fits together. Steph is never the problem. He's always the man when he's out there. And again, they're not going to trade Steph Curry. They don't have the gumption, the balls, but if you're really talking about how does a healthy basketball team and franchise operate, you need to know when it's time to basically sort of turn the page on a formula. And I just feel that the Warriors got stuck rereading the same page. You ever do that in a book where you got to read a paragraph 3 times?
Yes, because I space out. Yeah, I have ADHD. I'm on the I don't have the hyperactivity thing, but I got the spacing out, disassociation thing. I get it.
Right.
And again, my response to that is I'm not ready to throw in a towel and do a full rebuild because A, Steph means that much, but B, I've seen enough. And again, who in the Western Conference, Damon, scares you? Who in the Western Conference scares you so much that you don't think Stephen Curry, if you did some tweaking where suddenly you have a Nikola Vucevic as your center, a stretch 5, who can actually give you some shooting on the floor besides Steph. A team that maybe makes one or two other trades, so now you have like a rotation that doesn't rely on like a GP2, a 6'2 guard out there taking up considerable minutes, where Dennis Schroeder's on the bench where he belongs as a backup, where Podziemski's developing instead of having this big role. If they did the right things, and this is where I think Joe Lacob is thinking, you look at the Western Conference, there is no one team there that scares you. OKC is the best team. The Warriors already beat them once. They almost beat them a second time without Steph. That's a team they can keep up with. That's why I think this season... Yeah,
I'll tell you right now, the Rockets would scare me in a 7-game series.
But the Warriors already beat them. That's what I'm trying to say, man. The teams that are at the top of the West this year are constructed in a manner that the Warriors can beat. They're not obstacles like the Nuggets 2 years ago, where you had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope as your shooting guard standing 6'8", and Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic. Like lineups like that, like the Lakers still scare me the most when it comes to the Warriors, because the Warriors need size. This hobbit ball crap. Damon, the average height in the NBA, I looked this up the other day, is 6'7". That's the average height of an NBA player, is 6'7". And the Warriors are rolling lineups where Steph at 6'3" and Schroeder at 6'1" is your backcourt. They need tweaks, man. This team needs to get bigger. I do think they have the personnel. I just think they need to make tweaks. I'm not throwing in the towel, is my summary.
Well, again, too early to throw in the towel. So it's time to either get playing who you need to play to be the best team you are as you're currently built. And it seems like Steve Kerr is in the way of that at times.
Yes.
Or they need to take those pieces and flip them for someone. And let's talk about who those someones are. Vucevic is the stretch 5 that everyone has been talking about, feels like the right fit.
Yep.
Go ahead and do that. And you can maybe do that without coming off a guy like Kaminga. You could, maybe. So it's going to be tough to fit, but there is a possibility there. Then there's the Jimmy Butler, emo Jimmy right now. He's very unhappy. He's got green hair. He's going Billie Eilish Jimmy right now. I don't like the way Jimmy is pouting through this. It just, that turns me off as much as his age does.
And the numbers on he pouted after a 9-point, I think minus 27 net rating night. He was far and away the worst player on the Heat. So for him to come out and bitch like that when you're not playing well, that's where I thought it was a really bad look. I know people are mocking the green hair and I get it, but for me, it's like the 9 points, dude. Like if you're gonna pretend you're still the guy, put up the numbers before you talk like the guy, man. That's what bothered me. But I'm totally with you. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, and we got Zion Williamson.
That's intriguing.
Larry and I were just talking about this on Wake Up, and there's a part of me that, yes, his age, his talent, what he has done when healthy, yeah, very interesting. I'm afraid he's going to hurt himself opening a bag of pretzels on the flight out here to sign his new deal. So, there's a part of me that's very interested in Zion Williamson, and then there's another part of me that says, don't touch that guy with a 10-foot pole. He lacks self-discipline, and that is the wrong guy to get into business. Always hurt, lacks self-discipline. These are red flags.
100% agreed. Glenn in the chat, by the way, mentioning that Chet Holmgren wasn't playing in that second game of the Warriors lost by just 4 when Stephen Curry was not playing as well. And Chet Holmgren did play in that first game. In case you forgot, Chet Holmgren was knocked out of the season because of Andrew Wiggins, when Wiggins showed up, right? And this is my biggest issue with Wiggins. The consistency is still not there, man. We're still not getting it 82 games in a season. He started off so strong. He's currently, I think, 8th in All-Star voting because of that strong start. He was bringing the force, which knocked Chet Holmgren out for the season. Sad, but very true. And then you look at December, you look at these last games, and it's just it's the old Wiggins again. This is why I'm ready to move on from Wiggins. The Zion part of this, you're right, man. Every red flag I respect that. There's validity to it. What I will say about Zion is this is a season, this 2025 that we're in now, is a year where you could take low risks for very high rewards. Meaning, for Zion Williamson, given the demand is not there, given the Pelicans are ready to move on immediately, and given Zion's contract is not guaranteed, if you could trade Wiggins, GP2, and Looney and get them. I mean, that's not anyone who says that's high risk is delusional. That's sentimentality. Would you agree that's high risk, or what would you say to that?
What the risk is 3 bodies who might play for 1 body who might not.
And but and again, you're right. But we've already seen this team without GP2. Looney's out of the rotation. So, are they really losing anything? And so then it comes down to Wiggins. Of all the players on this team, you have already Kaminga and Moody, who can practically replicate what he does out there and then some. He's replaceable. And with Zion, again, I always go back to 2022. I don't know if Rick Celebrini just fooled me or if he's that amazing of a magician when it comes to medicine, but I'll never forget what he did with Otto Porter Jr., keeping him healthy for an entire season. They don't win a chip without OPJ getting healthy. The moment they win that championship, he gets his one last semi-decent deal, 2 years, I think 12 mil with Toronto, never plays again, and he's done. I know he played a few random games, but he was done. And
I got a lot of respect for Otto Porter Jr. I don't know if he's earned OPJ status.
I know. But Rick Celebrini has made me a believer, so that's why I'm willing to take a risk on Zion. I don't hate that idea just because what if it works out? Like you not only have your center for now, right? And you have a Steve Kerr type center, right? He's 6'5". Perfect for Kerr, man. You got your small ball center who actually might not be a detriment because he's like a round Charles Barkley mound type guy. I'm all in, dude. I like the Zion idea. I'm not sitting here guaranteeing a thing. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to work out. All I'm saying is if you're going to take a risk, take it on a guy who's 25, who was a former number one pick. Reminds me of Wiggins a lot, a reclamation type project. Like, swing for the fences, man. Let's see what happens if Zion plays in the Warriors culture. I'm down. Are you saying you're not? Are you out?
No, I guess I would, but I'd rather look at it this way. If your choice is you can either get Zion or Vucevic, I'm taking Vucevic 10 out of 10 times.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agreed. But I'm just saying, like, in case the Warriors are because you hear this rhetoric, right, of Joe Lacob and sources connected to him supposedly saying that he wants to get like the next star, right? And Jimmy Butler's turning 36 next year. I mean, is that your star? I mean, this guy could be washed for all we know. Like, that's a possibility, and that's too scary for me to give up important assets. Zion, that could be it. I mean, again, it would be a nice test for Kerr, right? I mean, Kerr, you're this amazing coach. Go coach. Go develop this kid. Do something. That's why I wouldn't mind it. I'm with you, though. I would prefer Vucevic. There's a few other teams out there that are willing to make deals. Like the Raptors are willing to give up anything for nothing. The Utah Jazz at this point of the season might be more willing. I've heard that Danny Ainge is kind of lowering his demands for players like Walker Kessler. There's teams out there, dude. Portland has a bunch of assets you can get for nothing. That's why if the Warriors stand pat, they're fools. They're fools. This is a year where you can get good pieces for nothing, and if you do nothing, you're a fool. Plain and simple, I think.
5-13 is enough of a awakening, you would think.
4-13, Dave. Even worse. It was 4-13 in the month of December, right? Am I wrong on that? I could be wrong on that.
Well,
but
I'm counting the last 18 games.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
5-13 in their last 18 games.
Correct.
The next 3 games are all at home.
Correct.
Memphis is here on Saturday. I would almost rest guys against Memphis because then you have a back-to-back with Sacramento, and you got to beat Sacramento on your home floor.
True.
And then it's the emo Heat with Jimmy Butler coming in Tuesday next week, and you get a look at Jimmy Butler. Seriously, I don't like my pouting Jimmy Butler at all. I like Jimmy Butler to be in the bubble, charging motherfuckers $20 for cups of coffee. Jimmy Butler, I like. That's my Jimmy Butler.
Banging married women, whatever he was doing in there. Yeah, it was.
Hey, we don't know anything about that.
I'll leave it there.
Maybe we know things about that. We've heard rumors.
We're not rumor mongers here. We just hear things like everyone else.
Anyway.
Did you see Kaminga's numbers in December, by the way, for when he actually got a whole month sample size worth of minutes? He averaged 31 minutes. Averaged 21 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 37% shooting from deep in the month of December. Your thoughts, Damon, on Jonathan Kaminga getting a month of 30-plus minutes and delivering, at least statistically. The haters will bring up the record, but
he's seen a career high twice in that stretch, right? 2 career highs?
Back-to-back games. No, the 3, yes, and 3 career highs. That stretch also saw the 33-point game against Houston. So
I like
it was
that.
a good
I
stretch.
feel like the 40-point game's coming, right?
I hope.
Keep going. Keep doing it. I want more of that.
Yeah.
What I like even more than the scoring and the rebounding is just his on-court feel. He's making passes that he would not have made 2 months ago. He is just feeling the flow of the offense around him in ways that, again, it's a do you feel the Golden State Warriors? He feels like he fits better now than he did even 2 weeks ago. And I'm already sure that Kerr is kicking up his next third quarter DNP because he's just angry for some reason that night. Like, I don't get it. Like, to me, this kid would be leading the league in minutes played right now as I'm trying to figure out who he is, either as the player I'm going forward with or the player that I'm shopping on the trade market to get something that I am going to go forward with.
If there was a player
stepping around him.
Agreed. If there was a player out there that actually was worthy of a trade, I'd entertain that. But dude, all I do, look, I don't have a social life, man. My entire life is Warriors basketball, research, observation, so that the content I produce is accurate and on top of things. Like, I don't want to be wrong, man. I don't want to be the guy who's on a what's that Twitter account, like Freezing Cold Takes, that where people just get burned for saying the stupidest shit ever. Like, I don't want to ever be featured on that. I'm doing my work here, and the point is,
you're going to be wrong. It's fine.
We all will. All you could try to do is not be wrong. And the one thing with Kaminga when it comes to trades, I've scoured this league, man. Unless it's a Giannis, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, we're seeing what he can do when he actually plays. You're not going to trade him for Butler. You're not going to trade him for Kyle Kuzma. You're wasting a future asset, man. That's a dumb trade. So I tell the people out there who talk about trading Kaminga, give me an actual solution. Like, give me a trade that makes sense and I'll talk about it. But if you're just saying trade them, that's lazy, dude. Anybody can say that. And a lot of people sadly are saying that. And my response to that always is, for who? It's easy to espouse opinions, man. Opinions are like a-holes, man. We all got them. But solutions are a whole different game, dude. Come at me with solutions. Give me someone to trade Kaminga for. Let's talk. But, dude, this landscape, the way it's set up, the Warriors are much smarter to keep him, and you're right.
A trade just on the team. I would like to trade the minutes that Moses Moody doesn't get for the minutes that Dennis Schroeder was just handed.
Or Buddy Hield. I don't know how you justify playing him. Like, I don't,
shooters. That the shooting comes and goes. It's a streaky profession. We've even seen Steph give into it once or twice. Buddy Hield's a shooter. Shooters got to shoot. And that's the thing. There's going to be nights where he shoots you out of games, and then there's going to be nights when he comes off the bench, gives you 28, and you win.
It's been a while since we've seen that, though. He had 3 points last night. Lindy Waters got 15 minutes, 40 seconds. He actually made his shots last night, which is a relief.
Well, and again, here's the thing. Quit dicking around with Lindy Waters. I'm not here for your, isn't this a good story? Seriously.
I agree. I love it. It's a great take.
An edge of the roster player.
It's a great take.
Steve Kerr can be, the best take I heard about him is like, you know what? I really like Lindy Waters, but Lindy, that's a chick's name. Get him the fuck out of here. There's an element of that too. Like, Lindy Waters is a real nice player to kind of develop in a year where you're going nowhere fast. And if the Warriors need to pot commit to either the next 4 years from now you're going to be great, or try to be great one more year from now, and it feels like they are neither.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. It's a lot. And this is where I feel. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. You nailed it. I have nothing to add. You're good call. And for the people saying trade Buddy, by the way, no one wants him. That's the biggest obstacle. He has a 3-year deal that he's on, and everyone else is seeing what he's doing right now. Who wants him? I mean, no one would even take him back for just to make salaries work. You'd have to attach a pick to him. He's got that Wiggins stink on him already. He's only been on the team for like 2 months.
But here's the thing. I'm not ready to give up. I'm not, because I did see him play very well earlier in this year. I thought he was going to be one of the reasons why the Warriors, were the deepest team in basketball.
You're right.
That conversation ended rather quickly, did it? Did it not?
Because he just stopped missing everything he was doing great early on. He stopped doing. It sucks. There is a very clear correlation. You're right. Between the Warriors being great, but that's also why I'm a believer still. This is why I'm not ready to just throw in the towel, because the Warriors are that close. They just need one more dude who can give you consistent scoring. And whether Schroeder can consistently do that, he finally had a good game last night from beginning to end. Whether they need to get a Vucevic or a Butler or Cam Johnson. Did Cam Johnson get hurt last night? I thought I saw something where he got injured, but which would be really a huge stain on the Nets for just holding him this long, only to see him get hurt and have his value destroyed. But anyways, the point is, do something, Golden State. Do something, anything! Please. I beg of you.
It's Steve Kerr.
Mike.
Steve Kerr got hit by a bus and couldn't coach the rest of this year. Who would you want coaching the Golden State Warriors?
Mike Brown.
Just go get Mike, bring him back, run it back.
Well, here's the thing. In my opinion, and again, my opinions are based hopefully on being educated, and I'm talking to sources inside the building. A huge reason why Steve Kerr is where he is because of Draymond Green. There are very few coaches who can manage that guy, right? And that's where Steve Kerr, I will give him credit when he deserves it, and he does deserve credit for the way he has managed Draymond, not including the Jordan Poole punch. That was a horrible example of handling a situation, but there are very few coaches that can handle Draymond Green. Mike Brown's one of them. I think you can keep the assistants, just swap those two. I think you'd be fine. That's just me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Mike Brown back, but doesn't he have Vivek, by the way? I mean, congratulations. You kept the Kings in Sacramento, but outside of that, it's been a disaster.
Sacramento might have the two worst owners in the NBA and Major League Baseball. Oh, it's possible.
It's right up there. It's right up there.
I mean, the A's brings it down so much that Vivek has no shot, really. But if you do them collectively,
Vivek is George Steinbrenner compared to frickin' John Fisher. Okay, but Vivek just gave Mike Brown an extension.
Yeah.
I mean, if Mike Brown is smart, he goes sits on a beach in Thailand and drinks boat drinks for the next 2 years. He's got all that guaranteed money coming to him. And
what'd you think about Darren Fox bringing that up? I thought that was fun. That was weird, man. It was a weird move to bring up the fact that he's set for the next 3-4 years, because I was like, really? That's where you're going? Like,
this is why you're never going to be a leader, Darren Fox. This is why you are never going to be anything better than the best player on a bad team.
Good call.
That's who
you're absolutely right.
You know, I mean, when they're the fact that he didn't say, yeah, man, I sleepwalk through 3 quarters and then try to give you all my clutch point stats and do it in clutch time. It's almost like he's slow playing himself into clutch stat conversations. The guy's he jakes it. All I can tell you, he takes it. He plays hard when he wants to.
If I'm Sacramento, I feel like they made a huge mistake picking Fox over Brown, but they made that decision. With that said, they got to trade Darren Fox. I've never been big on him to begin with. I just never thought his outside shooting was consistent enough. And on top of that, to be a top dog, like you said, you got to be a good leader, man. That includes saying the right things publicly. And that was not the right thing to say.
Halliburton. They should have stuck with Halliburton.
Agreed.
You know,
Kings fans hate me for saying that, but I agree. They whiffed hard on that trade, man. You had a generational talent in Tyrese Halliburton. You got a solid big in Domantas Sabonis. The solid big alone will not carry your team to a championship or to the playoffs or anything. Tyrese Halliburton, man. Even though this year's been a little weird for him, I agree. I strongly agree. Kings are little brothers, dude. Sacramento, you're back where you belong. You're the little brothers of the Warriors. Vivek, for a few years, forgot about that, and now everything's the chain of command is in order again.
Mike Brown was just the coach of the year 5 minutes ago. You totally forgot what to do. It's a team without a culture, without a doubt.
Oh, it is, dude.
And here's the thing: the Warriors, they claim to be a team with a culture, but that culture is officially now running on fumes. Okay, it really is. And
I've never liked that rhetoric, Damon, because the culture to me is Steph. But Steve Kerr thinks it's him. And it's like, no, you're not the culture, dude. Stephen Curry, his greatness is that culture. You just happen to be Steph's guy, and congratulations, good for you.
Both of them. I mean, I think they're intrinsically linked.
Yeah, that's fair.
Together.
That's fair.
Really, really do. And Draymond, for all of the warts on him, is still a huge part of the Warriors' tone and culture. And when Draymond is at his frostiest and his nastiest, that's when the Warriors are at their best. I will say this about Draymond, too. His level of offensive aggression this year, had the Warriors gotten that in, 2 or 3 other seasons, there would be 1 or 2 more banners up in that freaking rafters right now.
Agreed.
Like, where was this when you needed it most, Draymond?
Well, you know what's interesting is that answer actually is out there. Draymond himself admitted that when Kevin Durant came to the team, because if you look at Draymond's numbers at 2014-15 and then the following year, the 73-win season, which capitulated with Draymond, that incredible Game 7. I think he had a triple-double on 37 points or something. Please, someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong on that. It was a phenomenal scoring night. He might have been one assist or rebound off. Despite Draymond was incredible. And then KD came on board, and Draymond himself has admitted that he realized in order for that team to work, his offense would have to take a step back. And he has said that his confidence fell off the map. Like when KD moved on, Draymond did not focus on regaining his offensive confidence and his skills, and it's taken him until last year to do so, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But I love Draymond for being forthright enough to admit things like that. I appreciate his candor. But yeah, it's crazy. You're right. His offense now is clutch, dude. I know last night was a bad look because he was 1 of 5 from 3. He was being challenged. Like Joel Embiid was literally talking shit to him. And then Draymond, when he made the 3, was talking shit to the whole bench, which you also loved. The theatrics was beautiful. But I'm with you, man. Like Draymond had a coast-to-coast layup. I don't know if you saw that. He got the inbounds and just took it all the way down. Dude, you're right. I'm still all. This is why I don't want to trade the crew. This is why I'm not ready to throw in the towel, Damon, is because there are enough moments, there is enough evidence to see that they could still play. I know they're 37 and 35, and the best days are probably behind them, but get these guys help. This team right now is not it. They need help. Make a trade, please. What do you think, man? I mean, do you think they're going to do the trade?
There's a part of me that loves the nostalgia and would love to just see it all work one more time. There's another part of me that's been telling myself for like 3 weeks now, Damon, get your dick out of your heart and make some tough choices. And there is no tougher choice for the Warriors to really make than considering what could you get for Steph Curry. It would take this season and grind it to a halt, but it would literally ignite, hey, maybe something happens in the next 5 seasons. If you hold on to Steph Curry, 5 seasons from now ain't going to be pretty, man. It's not.
Here's my push. Here's where I will actually disagree with you on that, and here's why. Because I've seen enough evidence, and this is I know I'm going to get some shit from people, and that's fine. But I've seen enough evidence where when you have Podziemski playing his natural point guard possession, not a 2-guard next to Steph, that is not who he is, man. That's a swing and a miss, big time. Stop playing Podziemski alongside Steph. That does not work. When Podziemski plays the point, you have Moody, you have Kaminga, you have Trace Jackson-Davis. All I see, I borderline salivate thinking about that 5 years ago. I think those 4 represent a nucleus that could be a legitimate team in the very near future, and then you start building around them. That's where I think the 2 timeline thing, Joe Lacob gets a lot of heat for that. I've never once said that is a detriment to this team. Like, this team actually has assets for the future, and that 2 timeline thing, with the exception of the way Podziemski's being used, is not backfiring. I've not seen evidence to support that. In 2022 and 2023, this is why Bob Myers left, is because his vision for this Warriors team was that season Kaminga and Moody were supposed to be primary bench players, getting serious minutes, so that by now they are established and developed, and at least that season we could judge them for who they are. Instead, we got these Ty Jerome minutes and these Anthony Lamb minutes, sabotaging that. And then Myers was like, you know what, dude, I had an incredible 10-year run, 4 championships, ESPN's paying me like $5 million, I'm out. And he's got that job, and I love hearing him every time he's on that broadcast. But the point is that I like the future, man. I'm actually optimistic about it. Based off what I just said, are you still completely out on the future, or what are your thoughts on that, man?
I just know how the NBA works, and you don't get better the older that you get.
That's true.
That's the truth, man. And it's you can try to fight Father Time as hard as you want to. You are fighting a losing battle. Eventually, knowing when to walk away is
You're right.
It's a world of tough choices. And again, Steph Curry has officially done more to never walk away from than any player in this league has done in a very, very long time. The same was said about Kobe, and look at what happened to the Lakers.
I know. That is the worst case scenario. You're absolutely right, man. That is the fear. And Joe Lacob has publicly said that as well, that he doesn't want that to happen. That's why this whole 2 timeline thing became a concept in the first place. I'm totally with you. I get it.
I don't want the Warriors to do the unthinkable, but I do think in the name of just healthy basketball, thinking about the unthinkable is something they should explore.
That's fair.
Again, I don't even know if the offer could be made based on matched salaries and aprons and all that stuff. But if you're telling me that Oklahoma City Thunder would give you 5 first-round draft picks and Chet Holmgren,
But is that the Chet Holmgren part? If you're throwing Chet in, now you're talking.
Don't you need to think? Don't you need to
think?
The problem with the 6th first-round draft pick right there, right? So
yeah. But here's the only reason why OKC's first rounders don't excite me that much is because OKC is going to be damn good for the next 10 years. So those first rounders are like what, the 28th pick in the first round?
There's a lot of pick swaps, and there's things to find.
Give me those. Yes, give me those. Now we're talking, but I look, if we're talking about trading Steph, like I don't know if draft picks would be enough. Like the Chet Holmgren part, I'm all in on, but I'd want like like Brandon Miller and 3 first-round picks from the Hornets is something like I would think about, right? Like someone who could play now, who can potentially be a star in the future, and you're giving me assets. Now you're talking like Chet Holmgren
trading Steph to the Hornets, where he's just going to go and be on a worse team than he would be if he just stayed on the Warriors. Like the team that would trade for Steph thinks that he is the final piece in a championship puzzle. I
see. Yeah. So OKC, who's out there that would make a trade like that? Like the Magic, like the Knicks wouldn't do it. I mean, Houston.
It's something we thought of so little about. It's hard to just.
Yeah, I don't even like it. I don't even like thinking about it.
I don't like thinking about it either.
But if I hear what you're saying, though, man, the Joe Montana metaphor to me rings the most true here, because the Niners
forever in sports, man. Nothing.
The only thing with the Niners situation is they did have Steve Young ready to go. Like if the Warriors had that, like Kaminga's not that, man. I'm not sitting here pretending Kaminga's the next Steph. My whole argument has always been play him so we know what the hell we're getting with him. He was a very highly touted lottery pick, and the way that's been handled is my critique is you got to play these high lottery picks to see what you got with them instead of having 3 of them wasted from 2020 and 2021. But with that said, if you, like it was easy to stomach trading Joe because Steve Young was ready. Like trading Steph and having nothing in the balance, that's a rough idea. That's why I'm having a hard time.
By the way, I'm going to give Patrick Singh right here. Next topic: leave Steph alone. That is also a very good point. I mean, it really is. Everything that we're trying to talk about and just put on the table, like I get it. It does seem unthinkable. You don't want to hear about it. I don't even want to bring it up. I realize that I'm playing with my own reputation.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Just saying, man.
It's interesting. Damon, the Warriors again, they haven't. Oh, sorry, what?
The Warriors, I think, feel like they're very, very stuck. They're stuck in a level of they're the NBA middle. And when you're the NBA middle, you are fucked. You're not going to get a good enough draft pick. You're not going to really contend. You're just existing in this 43-win sort of gray area that takes good teams and reduces them to you don't even matter anymore.
Yeah. No, I totally follow you, man. I get it, and I'm frustrated as all hell myself. I'm just, I guess, I'm a little more optimistic about this team if you make a deal to improve it. I think they got a shot. But I hear what you're saying as well, dude. Like, it is very possible that their best days are behind them and they never have a chance again. I just look at this landscape this year and I'm thinking to myself, this season is all or nothing. Like, if it doesn't happen this year, don't expect 38-year-old Steph to somehow pull it off. Like, he's turning 37 this year. If it doesn't happen this year, time to move on, man. You got to start thinking about the next steps. But this season, that 12-3 start, whether or not that was just a mirage and that was fool's gold, we'll find out. I saw some things in there when they beat the Celtics, when they beat the Thunder, when they beat the Rockets. And it wasn't just that. They were also playing bad teams, but they were blowing out those bad teams. That's what good teams do. And then when that 12-3 start ended, all that went along with it. My point is, I've seen it. I saw enough there where, like, I could understand the Lakers going, yeah, we might as well try to justify and help Steph out by making moves here. I really hope they just don't stand still. I hope Steve Kerr doesn't convince the front office, just trust me, bro. Dennis Schroeder, he'll be fine. Like, I pray that's not the reasoning that convinces the Lakers. Like, Andrew Wiggins, he's our guy. Just leave him, bro. Please, Joe Lacob and company, please do something with this team. The way it is constructed is not working.
If that guy is your guy, you're in trouble.
Yeah, there you go. Damon, the Warriors have a relatively easy schedule, relatively speaking, in the month of January, but Saturday does not count in that easy schedule. And the Memphis Grizzlies, even the Warriors have beaten them once, which was impressive. But when you see Zach Edey out there, who's 7'3", 300 pounds, it makes the Warriors look so small. It's borderline comical.
Trace hates that fucking guy too. The two of them banged heads for all those years, and IU Purdue's rivalry. And Trace has held up well against Edey at times for sure.
Those are insights. I did not know that. Yeah. Continue on, please.
Well, you know where one went and the other one went, and they're
yeah. But I'm not a college basketball guy, so this is why the moment he said that, I'm like, ooh, like you got my attention, sir. Like how are those matchups like when they played in college?
Again, Trace would play Edey better than anybody else in the Big Ten. He really would. I mean, and Edey would still get his numbers. Edey was a guy who was allowed to live at the free throw line, really hard to officiate. Big Ten officiating is always crap to begin with, so he would get his numbers at the free throw line. He was also just a force, man. It was easy to not like Zach Edey if you were rooting against him.
Lottery pick, yeah, for good reason.
He was awesome collegiately. I hate to admit it. He was fantastic. He did everything Matt Painter asked him to do and then some. He was fantastic in college. But
Trace held his own.
What would he be able to do in the NBA? He's not enough of an athlete, and Edey's represented himself pretty well. And look, dude, the Memphis Grizzlies got a hard on to play the Golden State Warriors. They stay frisky. They really do. So
the good news is John Morant is out. And it's not good news because he's hurt.
The last game too, right? I mean, he was at the last game where the Memphis Grizzlies came in here and just put the Mama Chewbacca on him.
It's a good point. They were in Memphis. It was a 51-point shellacking. You're right. John Morant was not on that game. Zach Edey is listed as doubtful right now. If he's not playing, that's huge, massively advantageous for the Warriors. Zach Edey suffered a concussion last game. He's questionable for tonight against the Kings. The Grizzlies are going to be playing the second of a back-to-back against the Warriors Saturday. They play the Kings tonight and then the Warriors tomorrow night. So Zach Edey recently had a concussion. Marcus Smart's been out. He's going to still be out. Santi Aldama is going to be out. John Morant's going to be out. Any predictions from that, Damon? Like
a game you better damn well win if you want to go anywhere this year.
You're absolutely right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here's the thing. We're deep enough now into the NBA season. We're just like, we got another one coming up the next night. It's not the way to approach anything. Here you go. No. Here it is. We are past New Year's. I've always said Valentine's Day. That's officially the point of no return, but that'll be here before you know it. And if you're telling me the Warriors got a little bit of a dip in strength of schedule coming up against them, better eat now.
Take advantage.
Better eat now. No doubt about it, man.
Yes, sir.
It was fun to eat with you again, Cyrus.
This is always fun, brother.
I love talking hoops with you. I really do. You're not afraid to go places that other ones would be, I don't even want to talk about that. So that's why I really love talking with
Thank you, brother.
Back at it on Wednesdays when we get back to our normal
schedule. Only 5 days separate this show from the next one. Side note, Sam Batesh, our mutual, really good. Sam Batesh is one of my best friends. He's family to me. And we were on the phone the other day, and he told me that he's making regular hits with you. I know I saw one of them. I didn't realize this was a consistent weekly thing. I love it, Damon. I know you guys talk football, but Sam Batesh is such a good guy, and I love that you're doing that.
We're not quite weekly yet, but yeah, Sammy's been coming on by. He was a second quarter guest for my live stream that I did, and we've done a few other videos together. But I love Sammy. He's good people. He knows where they all are in this business. And let me just say one more thing about this business, and you have been around this business long enough to know that you've got to admire a streak like this. It came to an end at this year's Rose Bowl. Art Spander.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Covering Bay Area sports forever.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Art covered or attended either as like a little kid selling popcorn or in hot dogs, all the way up to having the Rose Bowl officially. They should rename the press box after Art Spander.
Agreed.
70 consecutive Rose Bowls. That streak came to an end because Art, who's still got his mental facilities and faculties, physically, Art is in his 90s now. The trip down to Pasadena was just a bit too much for him to break off, and it ended a streak of 70 Rose Bowls.
Incredible.
Outside of smoking bowls, I don't know if there's anything I've ever done 70 in a row of. I mean, Cyrus, have you in your life done 70 of anything?
Does porn count? No, I'm just kidding. Look. Art Spander, for those of you who grew up in the Bay Area, he was a columnist, and it was a staple, right? Like every column of his for me was must read. And he was dude, he's a legend in the Bay Area sports media scene for a very long time. His daughter Wendy, I don't know, he has multiple kids. I know Wendy because she used to be one of the head honchos at Electronic Arts, EA Sports. Think of Madden, right? And she was a top dog there for a lot of years in terms of PR. So she used to work with us. I'm sure you've had experiences with her. Like she'd get us huge guests who were promoting like the video games, and we'd be invited down to the headquarters in Mountain View just to check out all the stuff going on with their video game company. And she's kicking ass. Art Spander is a legend, dude. I'm really glad you brought that up because he wrote that final column on his website. I think it's artspander.com. And kudos to the shout out, Damon. That's bravo.
Absolutely earned it. Absolutely earned it. Cyrus, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so very, very much. Everyone, go ahead and like and subscribe to Golden Days. If you're watching over on Golden Days and want to subscribe to the Plus, I would certainly very much appreciate that.
We're catching up to you. We're at like 3,500 subscribers. We're only, 24,000 behind you?
Doesn't matter. You're building, brick by brick.
Oh, you're doing great, brother. You're doing fantastic.
It is not a competition.
I know.
We all will pick each other up and carry each other to.
So my point was, you are doing a fantastic job. Keep it up, man. You're rolling. Where are you right now? What is your sub number right now?
By the way, nothing matters more than this. Rob dropping C notes today. There you go. I love the Rob C note coming in early, but it does scare everyone else away.
I had a C note one time, and I'm still blown away by that. The great Sophia Jones joins me every Monday on Golden Days. She'll be back Monday. She's been away for the holidays. Mark Jones's daughter, interestingly enough. And the thing is, I'm not a big nepotism guy, right? So when some people might see that on the cover and go, "Cy, what are you doing, man? Another kid of a broadcaster." She was my student at San Jose State University. I had no clue who her dad was, and she was kicking ass. And then all of a sudden, like, through collaborating with her, I'm like, I found out that who her dad was and was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I knew her dad for years. And so that worked out. And he never told me his kid was in my class either. Point is, every Monday, Sophia Jones joins me. She's phenomenal. She is fantastic with her basketball and analysis. And so we got $100 C note one time, and I'm still like recovering from that. And it seems like you get this regularly. So bravo, dude. Like, and thank you, Rob C.
Starting a New Year's off right. It certainly did. Thank you. Again, join me on Sunday, 1:25 kickoff. We will be doing the live watch party of 49ers and the bad date that will not end. This 2024 season, just thank God it's almost over. The date has been terrible. No one had any fun. There'll be no kiss at the front door at the end of this one. It's time for everyone to just go home.
Can we talk Niners for a second before we go? Just real fast.
Yeah.
Because Brock Purdy, are you? I see Larry, our mutual buddy, Larry Kruger. He seems all in to keep Purdy and roll with him. I'm not as convinced. What is your Brock Purdy analysis?
Again, give me Brock. Give me your answer until it's Brock until it's not. Who's going to make it not? Who's going to make it not? Who is the guy that you're going to bring in that week one next year will be more ready to function in this offense than Brock Purdy? Is he perfect? No. Is he the greatest athlete in the NFL? No. But he really fits what the Niners do. And I don't know. Again, I would start Tanner Mordecai this weekend just to see what you got. Just see. But they're not going to do that. I think the 49ers are littered with players that we still need to know anything about, and they use these last 2 weeks to basically get Brock Purdy hurt in meaningless football. So bang up job, everybody.
All right.
I like Brock. I like him too.
I
like bringing Brock for about 50 rather than $60 million a year. But at the same time, the market will determine that, and they'll work around it.
I just wish Purdy convinced everyone so that it was not a debate. I wish he ended the debate. Unfortunately, he hasn't, man. He hasn't gotten to that point where everyone's sold, but I'm totally with you at the same time where it's like, who else are you going to get? You're not doing Aaron Rodgers, right? That's a bad idea, correct? Like, are you entertaining that idea, Aaron Rodgers to the 49ers?
No fucking way.
There you go. Okay, so there you go. So, yeah, and I feel like that's what most people are saying. You see his name thrown out there randomly, and for a second you think about it, but then, I mean, he played awful this year. He's a nut job on top of that. Yeah, hard pass.
I'd rather you bring in Buck Rogers or Roger Rabbit. I mean, give me another Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. Always a pleasure to see everyone across both channels. We're all lucky to have you here. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back to normal come next week. In the meantime, have a really good weekend. Happy New Year. And maybe the Niners can get Zion to play quarterback.
Center.
Something. Tight end. He wouldn't make it off the line of scrimmage. He would just fall down.
Oh, my God, dude. Zion played football. Dude, the more I think about it, the more I'm against it. Just he is a head case, dude. Maybe it's a bad idea. I don't know, man.
Look, I mean, it's tempting. It's tempting. But don't fall in love. Don't fall in love with that guy. That guy's going to leave you at the altar. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, they are gone.